hot and techy Brezza, the city-bred SUV.
A result of great significance, not just for the Delhi Capitals, but in the race for the playoffs. And you think Rajasthan Royals will be comfortable despite facing back-to-back defeats for the first time in IPL 2024. But it's not just qualification that Sanju Samson's side is seeking. It's a finish in the top two. As a result of playing as many games with KKR now, it is the Knight Riders that are number one. The Royals are number two. They have lost in a game that had plenty of incidents, some wonderful batting, some skillful bowling, and talking points, none more so than Sanju Samson's dismissal. We cover all that and more on Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPN Cricket for Timeout, powered by JBL. Mitch McClenaghan, Wasim, Jaffer and senior correspondent Shashank, Kishore. Very important result this. Delhi Capitals, they played like a team that still have an interest in the playoffs, don't they, Mitch?
Yeah, massive result for Delhi Capitals. We saw earlier in the tournament when they had a chance against Kolkata to really get themselves into position to challenge for the top four, that they capitulated. They really struggled in Kolkata. But tonight it was a different side. It looked like a side that had some confidence. Their bowling unit has been operating very well. Axar Patel's come into some form, as so has Kuldeep. And Rashid Salam, he has been impressive. He's been the X-factor impact player for them, who's done a tremendous job. And I have to say, tonight, under pressure, for such a young man to bowl the 19th over and only go for 8 runs against one of the best finishers in world cricket, and Rodman Powell, that was very impressive to see. So well done to Rashid.
Yeah, what was the most impressive part of this Delhi win, Wasim? Rajasthan were missing some key players, but the batting seems to have performed against what's pretty much a full strength Rajasthan Royals bowling lineup.
Yeah, I mean, Tristan Stubbs obviously made a difference.
Yes.
The finish that he gave them a really good score, even though we thought it was 10-15 less. But I think the way that batting, I mean, Fraser McGurk is obviously at the start, the way he batted, and the inning progressed from there on. They had a little bit of slump, but Tristan Stubbs, I feel, he was a difference. And like he says, how Rashid Salam bowled as well. I mean, those spinners, couple of spinners also bowled well in that middle period, and that 18th over from Kuldeep. I thought that was a difference, and Rashid Salam being such a youngster, to get Riyan Parag out with that, back of the hand delivery, and to bowl that 19th over like he did, that says a lot about such a young guy doing so well. Even the left-hander, the opener, can't get his name.
Porel.
Abhishek Porel. I mean, those guys coming good is such a positive signs for Delhi.
Yeah, suddenly things are coming together for Delhi, for a team that we've been very critical about strength of their squad and choices of signings, and it's been unsung heroes in many ways. Fraser McGurk, Stubbs, Porel, Rashid.
All of them who none of us wrote in our first 11, right, to begin the tournament.
Absolutely.
But injuries and unavailability of players has kind of opens the door, and they've all grabbed their opportunities. Yeah?
Sanju Samson seemed like the single most responsible force if Rajasthan were to get over the line. Nobody else went at more than 30, I think, today. The second high score after Samson's 86 is 27 by Riyan Parag. It looked like Samson being the difference. Samson was outstanding. Was Samson out?
Yeah, I believe he was. I don't think there was conclusive evidence to show that he touched the rope. These ones are really difficult, right? Because when you're that close to the rope, you get shadows from the light towers that go onto the advertising little rope hoarding things, and sometimes it can look like there's movement when there's not. And I think Shai Hope is an honest character from the dealings I've had with him, and I don't believe that he would have claimed it to be out if he stepped on the rope.
Was he out or not out, Samson?
From what we saw on the TV, it looked out. There was doubts in the Rajasthan camp, and we believe why they've done that, because it was such an important thing in the game. The game could have gone either way, and it did. But I mean, we keep asking about what you need to improve in the tournament. Sneakometer in the boundary line is probably the
ultra edge,
or whatever. Yeah, you call that. Hot spot. Yeah.
There's a few
Going
more bucks,
forward,
but I'm sure the BCCI has it. Your younger eyes saw the same as Wasim and Mitch?
Yeah, it looked out. I mean, there was no doubt there. The fact that the umpire looked at two angles, both the available angles, and there was no movement, at least visible straight forward. So, I mean, I'm not sure why Royals were so animated there in the dugout.
There clearly was one angle where Sangha was convinced that it was the other way around, because he continued remonstrating after that. He also indicated, you can easily pick up from the language, that he's saying he's touched the cushion, he's touched the cushion. There's some angle that Kumar Sangakkara in the Royals dugout saw, which left him with no doubt that that was an error from the TV umpire. And Sanju Samson's own reaction suggested whatever he saw on the big screen at the Arun Jaitley Stadium also thought that he's going to get this in his favour. What could that possibly be? As a cricketer, have you seen those before where a player might believe that, no, that's touched, I can't believe that's happened?
Yeah, it's kind of what I explained just before. Like, on the replays, it's obviously very, very close. But when the player's moving around the cushions, you do get the light comes on and the shadow comes onto those hoardings. So it can look like the hoarding moves or the boundary rope signage moves, but it doesn't. It's just the light playing mind tricks. So I thought it was out, but obviously very close. And at such a crucial point of the game, you can understand, that Rajasthan were upset if they thought there was any inkling he might have brushed it.
Two things that I'll just add to that. One, it's good that we had an elite panel umpire in the TV umpire's chair, because it makes a difference with Michael Goff there. The second is, even though it was Michael Goff, I think about 4 or 5 wides were reviewed for 3 or 4 times the amount of time than Samson's wicket. I take your point entirely, and I agree that I think he would reach the right decision, but he would have just spent a little more time reaching it. I wonder if that would have just eased the emotions of the Royals camp. That seemed to be quite a quick conclusion. Even if it's the right one, it seemed quite a quick conclusion. Maybe that is what also got the emotions of the Royals dugout high?
Probably, yeah. I mean, sometimes the quicker you make the decision, it's your first thought. But the more you look, you put yourself under doubt. So I think, that was a good decision. I thought it was out as well.
Saw some emotion from the coaching staff in the dugout, from the batter in the middle, and the owner in the owner's box.
For a moment, I thought Saurav Ganguly was going to twirl his shirt after the result.
Not at this stage, Not anymore. But yeah, you could see Mr. Jindal also very animated, very emotional. It's that time of the year.
Yeah, it's huge, right? Like a massive game. Like Delhi's a dangerous side, and they're gaining confidence. They've got some young, up-and-coming superstars who are having great IPL tournaments, and you don't want to give a side like this a chance. You don't want to give them a sniff of being back in the mix come playoffs time. So for them, they wanted to secure that top spot or their qualification first and foremost, which would have pretty much guaranteed that they were going to be first or second. And now they're on the back of a couple of tough losses. That last ball loss against Sunrisers, now this where they fell short. When we spoke about it at half-time, most of us said that it was going to be, it looked like it was chaseable. And it was. And, the fact that Hepmeyer wasn't available today would be disappointing from their side for him to pick up a niggle in such a crunch time of the season, because he would have had an impact. You would have expected him to be able to at least fare a little bit better against Kuldeep in
just that whole matchup, 18th over, it was either Ferreira, and if Hetmeyer's fit, that could have been so crucial.
Yeah, because Ferreira hasn't played. Ferreira's a good player, but you haven't faced Kuldeep before. You haven't been under that kind of pressure in the IPL. Ideally you want someone like a Hepmeyer there to be able to take that over down, but wasn't to be. There's always a lot of ifs in this game, isn't there? And we always think that things are going to change the result, but wasn't to be tonight for Rajasthan.
Some very amusing comments on our live YouTube feed. Anubhav Sharma says Sanju was not out. Vicky Sports says, "Oh bhai, aise hi de do jisko trophy deni hai," which translates to just give the trophy to who you want. Obviously, very displeased that grave injustice is being served to Rajasthan Royals. Must be a Royals fan. JM says Sanju is not out and shouldn't benefit of doubt go to a batter. Well, this whole benefit of doubt thing has changed now. It's not that. Firstly, I think from the umpire's words, he didn't seem to be in any doubt. Right?
Well, the benefit should go to the batsman, but not the errors. So there was no benefit. I mean, it looked like it didn't touch. So
but I mean, if you actually look at how the game is adjudicated now, Wasim, with the DRS, there's no concept of benefit of doubt anymore. Anywhere. Not even for line calls. Those are pretty clear as well. Earlier, you had a number of things.
In that case, you have to prove that it wasn't a catch taken inside the field of play. And that's the issue, right? It's always like when they used to have the soft signal from the umpire, the umpire always had to assume that the catch was taken cleanly, and that was part of the rule. And when you're looking at that, you can't, without conclusive evidence, you can't overturn that catch. And I don't think there was conclusive evidence that he touched the rope.
I mean, this lies entirely with the TV umpire, though, because on-field umpires don't give soft signals anymore.
Yeah.
So this has purely gone down to what Michael Goff has seen, and he's given it out. And I think this is one of those where, depending on which dugout you're sitting in, you'll either agree or never agree.
But it was only Samson, right? So Samson was, when I say it's only Samson is the only person who stood up for Rajasthan tonight.
Yeah.
He's the only one. So you've got to look at it from a team perspective. Obviously, Barry Ashwin's bowling in the first innings. But outside of that, nobody else turned up tonight.
Second high score of 27 after Samson's 86. You're chasing 220 plus.
And no one was striking. I mean, Jaiswal struck at 200 because, got out the second ball. But no one else struck at a considerable rate when you're chasing that.
He's such a big wicket to Jaiswal, isn't he? In these kind of situations. He could almost take his time.
Yeah, he's really disappointed in his approach. I mean, you got to give respect, even though you're chasing 220. You can't come out there and bat like that. He's such a good player. He needs to give himself time. He's done the same mistake at the start of the tournament. He got out few times. I thought he got his mojo back, he got his rhythm back, and then he's gone back again after being selected for the World Cup. He's again gone back. I don't know why. He could easily take 6, 7, 8 balls, play normal cricketing shots, and the wicket was good. So I'm really surprised. And I thought Rishabh Pant was very good as a captain. The matchups that he played, Akshar Patel to Josh Butler, and then obviously Kuldeep. So I thought he was spot on today.
Over the last 2 or 3 seasons, Royals have had this trend of being pace setters in the first half, wherein they win 6 out of 7 or 5 out of 6, and then they've made some kind of experimentation with players coming in, going out, and then they've lost momentum going into the second half. I mean, it's not yet panic stations for them. They've just lost 2 games in a row, still very much in the race for the playoffs. But I just hope that this result doesn't kind of get them closer to that point where they start making those decisions and chopping and changing for whatever reason. You saw Hetmeyer missing out, and that proved to be a massive difference, although I don't think it was rest, he was injured.
Niggle is what we...
So they've had this trend in the past. They wouldn't want to get near that again.
There are a lot of other incidents, so we must cover those because there are so many other participants in what was a very compelling game to watch. And RR, of course, now go to the Chepauk for an afternoon game. That's a huge game for them. My God, these games are fun come the end of the season. They'll also finish against KKR, which could be a nice little battle for potentially one of the playoff games that are already decided. And they have Punjab in the middle of that. They go to Guwahati as well. So we'll come to all that in a bit. But let's unpack just a few other elements of this. As controversial as the dismissal may be to many, how good was the innings? And it will trigger questions that are coming through on who is India's more informed keeper batter. When you see Sanju Samson bat like that, it's hard to say that he shouldn't be in India's first 11 come the World Cup.
Yeah, I mean, it was a beautiful knock. He could have easily taken Rajasthan home on himself.
Yep.
And yeah, I mean, in that kind of form, you are tempted to play him, without a doubt. With Rishabh not getting runs in the last 2-3 games, and I was also disappointed how Rishabh got out in this inning. He wanted to hit there. He could have easily hit in that ball to deep mid wicket. Yeah. But for some reason, he just falls down and want to play it backward or square leg.
He's done that a few times. This tournament hasn't.
I'm really surprised because he's such a strong player. He could easily hit that to deep mid wicket. But yeah, I would be tempted to play Samson as well at number 5 or 6. He's in terrific form, and you want to play guys who are in form, who's taking the game on. So
it's a really, really interesting one, isn't it? I think we've spoken about this before. I think if Sanju is to play, then it'll have to mean that obviously I think the Rishabh and Hardik go together, and I think Dubey and Sanju go together. Both left-hand, right-hand combinations, both your batting all-rounders. So it's whatever combination they want, and it's going to come down to whether they want to play Dubey or whether they want to play Hardik, potentially.
If they can play both, which we are entertaining the thought of, Dubey and Hardik both, then who is your preferred keeper bat?
I would probably lean towards Sanju.
At this point?
Yeah. Because I think Dubey gives you that power left-hander in the middle, so I don't think Rishabh's as critical. And I think Sanju's ability to bat situations in the middle and he was class tonight, and he's been class this whole tournament. And everyone goes, well, Sanju's always been a good IPL player. We haven't really seen the consistency until just this year. But you're allowed to get better, and you're allowed to mature as a player. And the Sanju Samson that we've seen this season has been by far the best Sanju Samson that we've seen historically. And it doesn't mean that won't transfer over to the international level. I know he hasn't set the international stage on fire, but this looks like a different Sanju Samson.
Also seems very unshackled with the way he's batting. I mean, doesn't seem to be batting with any pressure or baggage or that expectation that there's a selection round the corner. He seems to be free in his mind, and that seems to be showing. But to be fair, I mean, even when he's had the opportunities, he's never had a consistent run across a series. I mean, it's always been 2 games in, 3 games out, and it's a trend that's been on right through his T20 career from 2015. So finally, I mean, now that he's in and there's a straight runway for him, and he's doing well, I mean, it'll be a very interesting call, but maybe he's slightly ahead. I mean, that's a tough call, and it's a good call for the selectors to make.
It could very well be that both feature at some point. Whoever starts will get 3 games, and if they don't take their chance in those 3 games, come the Super 8s, you never know. But Samson is doing his case absolutely no harm. Wonderful innings, but we must talk about the Capitals, who've managed to pull off the result against one of the teams of the tournament so far in the Rajasthan Royals. Let's talk about spin. Kuldeep Yadav and Akshar Patel. Effectively today was him out-bowling Ashwin and Chahal, who we thought was the best spin attack of the league.
Yeah, they did. And we talked about it in the preview as well, that this is the matchup, and we probably looked at Ashwin and Chahal, that they are senior guys and they probably have better numbers. But those 2 guys, Akshar and Kuldeep, have out-bowled them. And I thought that was the difference. Those 7 overs, those 3 wickets and 50-odd runs in those 7 overs was the difference. And I think that won them the game.
And that includes the wicket of Josh Butler, huge wicket there, good wicket to get just to kill the game off from Kuldeep in the 18, good captaincy as well from Rishabh.
Yeah, brave captaincy, but he had an opportunity, didn't he? Ferreira hasn't seen him before, so that was a great opportunity. So it was a brave but calculated call. So I mean, Ashwin bowled really nicely tonight. I think Tristan Stubbs played Chahal exceptionally well. He's the guy who kind of made those spinners look, or Chahal in particular, look under par. So we said at the half time that the spinners are going to have to bowl well, and even for Axar to go at 8s, that was significant in that partnership, because Kuldeep again going at 6s, phenomenal on that ground.
And we'll just go back to the first innings also very quickly, because we ran out of time in the mid-show, but Stubbs is finished, and Wasim brought it up in his opening comments. The innings looked like it was losing momentum. If Stubbs doesn't take down Chahal, who himself bowled an 18th over, and doesn't give them that 40 or 20, they could end up at 200. What a player he's turned out to be.
Proper player. Yeah. Seriously proper player. And, it's those ifs, right? If he had have been retained by Mumbai, he probably wouldn't have played this year. And it's just great to see a very talented player get picked in by Delhi Capitals, and they're given an opportunity that may not have come if a few other guys were fit. And it's just how the world works. And I'm just so happy for him, happy for Delhi that they've had to be forced into that position to play him, and he's really rewarded them. He seems a very happy player at the moment. The striking ability is sensational, and we said that it was going to be really fascinating to watch him take on Sandeep as well. And I know Sandeep got him out in the end, but it was just such a fascinating battle. 2 6s, and then Sandeep got him out. It was just, even those 2 6s were significant in the momentum for Delhi taking that into half time. With Russick at the end, he got another 20 runs. So very impressive.
I mean, again, it's just the point you made a little while back. Fraser McGurk, Stubbs, Russick, we're getting
Abhishek Porel.
We get guys who we didn't think will come anywhere near their first 11. Fraser McGurk was a replacement player this season, and they've just turned the Capitals' fortunes around, and they stay alive. Really important win for them. Lots of questions coming through, but I think we've said everything we had to on the Samson dismissal, and I think there'll just be many who'll see it differently, and that's fine as well. Some questions on Rovman Powell as well, on whether he is holding his weight in that role and in that position. He obviously bats 4 and 5 for the West Indies. Is that a role that they need to relook? It's also change in the overseas combination they started with, right? Because Nandre Berger is not fit.
Yeah.
But is Rovman Powell doing enough in that team?
Not at the moment. No. I mean, they could have sent him where Shubham Dubey came to bat. I thought, if at all, you want your overseas batters to do the heavy lifting. I thought Shubham Dubey batted really well. I think he did his job by getting runs at the 200 strike rate.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, there was a case Rovman Powell could have come there. I think for the foreign batters who doesn't play spin well, it's always going to be difficult. And Roman is one of them. And we've talked about Donovan Ferreira. I mean, those guys who come at the death and doesn't play spin well, it's very important for the captains to keep 1 or 2 overs. And that's exactly what Tristan Stubbs did. Because he played spin so well, he could get runs. So, I mean, that was good play by Rishabh Pant. But I think it's important for, if you are going into the auction and if you're picking foreign batters to do the job in the back end of the innings, they need to play spin well. Otherwise, team stack up against them.
He just added so many more shots, Tristan Stubbs too, right? The reverse sweep and the sweep, I don't think we saw much of that.
Yeah.
And Powell is power hitter. It doesn't sweep and reverse sweep as much. So, makes such a difference. Kushal Shah says, Stubbs has been a revelation this tournament, did well in SC20, but damn, his IPL consistency at this position is nuts. It is indeed nuts. Right, Shashank talking about the South African team with Markram, Miller, Klaasen and Stubbs. What a strong team that could become the World Cup.
Very strong team. Very strong team.
It's only South Africa.
Huh?
It's South Africa. Still South Africa.
They get close to the semi-finals.
Yeah, speaking from experience.
No, we make finals now and lose.
Oh, man. Kiwi man. All right. On that note, thank you very much for sending in your questions. There's so much that happened, and we've also covered quite a bit of the first innings with Fraser McGurk and Porrell and our Mitch show. Please do catch it. It's now time for a very quick rapid-fire review of the game. Right. Let's start with, was Shea Hope's incredible catch to dismiss Samson the turning point in this game? Mitch?
Oh, look, it was, because Sanju Samson was in fine form. It's a wicket that needed to be taken, and I know there's going to be a lot of contention about the decision, but I think there wasn't enough evidence to overturn it.
All right, fair enough. Wasim, Rovman Powell unable to finish the last couple of matches. Is that the right role for him, or would you change it in matches going forward?
I think that's probably his job to do it, even though he plays number 4 or 5 for West Indies, but I don't think he's going to fit there because Rian Parag is there, and then Hetmeyer comes ahead of him. But yeah, if he's an international batter, he needs to finish those games.
All right, on that note, Shashank, you can take one. How much did Rajasthan miss Hetmeyer and Jurel in this game?
Massively towards the second half of their innings, especially against 2 spinners, left-arm spinners, Akshar Patel and Kuldeep Yadav.
All right, speaking of Kuldeep Yadav, lots of time to spare. Wasim, back to you. Leaving 1 over of Kuldeep for the end, did Delhi get that tactic spot on?
Yeah, absolutely spot on. Considering Rovman also doesn't play the leg spin really well, and Donovan Ferreira obviously hasn't faced him, I thought that was brilliant tactics from Rishabh.
All right, Mitch, back to you. Why did Delhi's seamers outperform Rajasthan's, who came into this game as favourites? 20 seconds.
I think they got off to a good start. They had good lengths. They didn't bowl too many bad deliveries, but I think at the end they had a clear tactic of what they wanted to achieve, and I think Rasak Salam making sure he bowled away from the short side, going around the wicket and bowling wide Yorkers was a great plan and was great execution.
Okay, and Shashank, you touched upon this, so I'll give this last one to you. 2 losses in a row at the business end. Could the pressure get to Rajasthan?
I don't think it's panic stations yet. They've still got a strong squad. They'd be hoping that it's just a niggle and Hetmeyer is back in the next game. I mean, the fact is he hadn't had too many opportunities to bat, but Hetmeyer coming in at 6 makes a massive difference. So I don't think it's panic stations just yet.
Okay, thank you very much. That's rapid fire done. On the corner of my eye, I'm actually watching Kumar Sangakkara's post-match press conference live. He's gone in to take the questions himself, and he looks like he's going to give us at least 50 headlines from this. I'm watching it in mute, but he looks like a man who is not happy, who is fired up. I'd love to hear what Sangha has to say about this game. But on that note, let's quickly wrap up things on the show and enter the impact zone. Right. Oh, Mitch McClenaghan. Wasim, what have you done, Wasim?
Avesh has given me minus 22.
What a guy, Bhavesh.
Wow.
Yeah. And Samson Bichara didn't give him a third over also to try and get you some wickets. Fraser McGurk, Kuldeep Yadav, Tristan Stubbs, very nice. Even though the highest impact player individually today was the Rajasthan Royals captain Sanju Samson. So Shashank finishes a very respectable second.
Yeah, highest finish so far.
Yeah. I think the player who had the most impact on today's impact zone was definitely Shai Hope.
Yeah, that's true. Very much so. Who would be your player of the match? Quickly.
Shai Hope.
Oh, come on. What are you doing?
Are the comments still going?
No, of course they would be. We're still live, right? Anyway, Samson's Cricketfor's MVP as far as the impact zone goes.
He was the best player today.
Yeah, but you often award the player of the match from the winning side. I wonder what they've gone. In fact, I can just confirm now, Kuldeep Yadav has been named player of the match. Not
Well, see, that's fair. I mean, he bowled
Kuldeep
beautifully,
and Stubbs were probably one of them.
Well, even Fraser McGurk. He's the first player in history to get 350s under 20 balls. So, and he just took the game away from. With this being one of the best power play units in the whole competition in the whole IPL, and to just take it on at the top like he did, he set up that score. Yes, Tristan Stubbs finished it off with the bat, and Kuldeep bowled beautifully, but Fraser McGurk started that.
Okay, that's a good argument for Fraser McGurk. Kuldeep Yadav in his interview for player of the match has actually said, I knew Ferreira was a back foot player, so I pitched it up and got him out.
Perfect.
I'd give him player of the match.
The new scientist.
I'd give him player of the match just for that. That's awesome. All right. And, to be fair, your point is well valid, but sometimes these games just change in the 18th over, right?
Yeah.
Kuldeep gets taken down and suddenly the next two bowlers don't have enough to defend. So I don't mind it. A bowler gets it, no problem. Yeah. All right. Let's have a look at the points table for IPL 2024. Kolkata would welcome this result. It puts some space between them and Rajasthan, having played the same number of games. They have a very healthy net run rate too, to Shreyas Iyer's side. The next game for Rajasthan is at the Chepauk against the Super Kings on Sunday afternoon. What a big game that is. If it becomes 3 losses in a row for Rajasthan, then we can ask the question of whether the panic button can be pressed. Super Kings must go into that game thinking they can upstage the Royals. On the other hand, Delhi, this is a huge game. And guess what we have tomorrow? Hyderabad versus Lucknow, the two teams around them. Winner takes all, loser loses ground. So the race for the playoffs is still very much up and running. It's fun, isn't it? Nobody's secured a qualification. Nobody's been eliminated. Good IPL.
4 teams at 8, 4 teams at 12, and 2 teams at 16.
Sir, I want a meme from you on this in the next 24 hours. Please. A very clever one. Thank you very much to Wasim. Jaffer. We'll give him some time off. He'll be back later. Mitch McClenaghan, you will be back tomorrow. Shashank, thank you as well. Senior correspondent Shashank Kishore. That's a wrap from us. Join us tomorrow for what is a game of huge significance for both Sunrisers and Lucknow Super Giants. Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPN Cricket for Timeout. Powered by JBL will be live just around the toss. Download the mobile app. If you haven't already, everything Sangha says will be written and plastered on the side. And I really want to know what he thought of that dismissal of Sanju Samson, which will be one of the great debates of the tournament. Bye-bye.
All new hot and techy Brezza, the Citybird SUV.